All right. Welcome. I'm so glad everyone could join me today. You're in for a special treat. This is going to be the best live stream I've ever done. Shouldn't be too hard, but this will be the best. And it looks like we're going. All right. And today, also live on Twitch for the first time. So I'm trying that out as well. We'll see if we can get any audience out there. Who knows? But first, flame on. Now, one of the things that's been asked of me is that I share links to the stories that I talk about. And it's funny because previously I would always do this and I could go and look and see if anyone clicked on it. And most of the time, nobody even clicked on, on the links. I understand that that's what you want, and I will work to doing that in the near future. Not today, but I'll I'll be linking to the stories in the near future. That is the plan. But let's talk about what we have for this awesome show today. It's Wednesday, January 11th, and I'm going to be talking about the ozone layer has been saved. It's big news. It should be the number one story in the world all week. That's how significant it is. You may have missed it, so I'm bringing it to you. I'm also going to talk about the egg shortage, Lucky Girl Syndrome, which is taking over TikTok right now. Has WWE been sold to Saudi Arabia? I'll have an update about that. And lastly, a new study about kindness and depression. And you're going to want to wait to the end because you may see a certain someone dancing, perhaps. That's a tease. But yeah, let's get to the first story. But as always, you can find me at Coffee and Nuance, wherever your social media is. Please like, share, promote my stuff. It really means the world to me, and I do appreciate that. But let's talk about the ozone layer. The ozone layer, which protects the Earth from harmful ultraviolet rays, is expected to recover to 1980 levels by 2040, according to a new assessment by the panel of experts backed by the United Nations. The recovery is due to the phasing out of ozone-depleting chemicals such as chlorofluorocarbons, or CFCs, which has been linked to refrigerators, aerosols, and solvents. The use of CFCs has decreased by 99% since the Montreal Protocol was introduced in 1989, which began the process of phasing out such chemicals. If current global policies remain in place, the ozone layer is expected to recover completely in polar areas by 2045 over the Arctic and 2066 over the Antarctic. Now, this is a huge deal because when I was a teenager, we always heard about the ozone layer and it was going to be the end of civilization. You know, the ozone layer was in us, there was a hole over Australia and maybe they would all have to move. No one could live there anymore. Skin cancer was going to go through the roof, all kinds of terrible things. And, that's one of the awesome things about technology and working together is that we can solve these problems as a human race. We can solve these problems. Often we need a little nudge. But this is a big deal because they made such a huge thing about it in the 80s, and probably rightfully so. But they were able to come up with some ways to solve it. And that's great news. And we need more good news. If you've looked at the news lately, it's not a whole lot of positivity there. So I'm glad that we got this story. And you can share some of this good news with your friends and family because they may not have heard about it. Yeah. But the next story that I want to talk about is the national egg shortage. Remained high due to supply chain devastating outbreak of highly pathogenic avian influenza, HPAI, that began in February of last year. This outbreak has wiped out more than 44 million egg-laying hens, roughly 4 to 5% of production. It's the second largest outbreak after one in 2015, which affected more than 50 million birds and more than doubled prices for liquid egg products and shelled eggs by mid-year. Many industry analysts expect prices to remain high for eggs, at least in the short term. The immediate outlook for the prices is wildly high, but is expected to come down as production increases. Now, you may have experienced this yourself if you've gone to the store. I know at Costco they had, some notices out that you were only allowed 2 packages of eggs, whether that be an 18-pack or a 24-pack or something like that. But they had limits to it because there's such high demand right now for eggs. But my question to you is, have you ever had fresh eggs? Because that is another substitute that you could do. Uh-oh. Apparently we had a bit of a connection issue there, but I think we're back on track. Okay, but this is a picture of my chicks from 10 years ago. I had some chicks, I grew them, and they became hen-laying eggs. And if you've ever had real eggs, like from your yard, from your farm, it's a totally different product than what you get in the store. It tastes eggy, if you will. It has a totally different look and taste. And if you haven't experienced it yet, that's what I encourage you to do this week, is to go get some farm fresh eggs. The yolks are a little bit darker color, and there's so much more taste to the eggs. It kind of reminds me if you go to Hawaii and you have a pineapple. You're like, this is not the same pineapple that I had back in stateside, right? This is not the pineapple I'm used to. This is a totally different experience. So fresh, so juicy, so good. And it's the same thing with eggs that you raise yourself. Now, I currently don't have any chickens in my backyard, but I've been considering it. It was so much fun to have chickens. In the morning, I would go out with my coffee and let them loose and let them run around the yard for a bit, and I would just hang out and watch them. It was very relaxing. So that's something you might consider for what you're going to do in the future, especially if this egg shortage remains. Okay. Now let's talk about lucky girl syndrome. This has been on TikTok recently, and it's really blown up. Lucky girl syndrome is a manifestation method that is being shared on TikTok. It is a state of mind that people use to actualize their aspirations while believing that they are lucky and that everything occurs in their life will end positively. People who use this technique repeat affirmations like, I'm so lucky, the universe always has my back, or everything always works out for me, which reinforce their belief in their own luckiness. Lucky girl syndrome works because it taps into the power of our subconscious beliefs and is similar to the law of assumption, which states that if you believe and act like you already have what you want, you'll get it. So try experimenting with the lucky girl syndrome. It's suggested using affirmations and visualizing your dreams. it's funny, I've never thought of it as lucky girl syndrome. But this is something that I do, that I definitely do. One of the expressions that I have is that, it'll work out because what's the alternative? Not working out? No, everything works out. Right? One of the assumptions that I often have when I'm in public or meeting new people or whatever the case may be, not real good at social cues. Probably has something to do with Asperger's. But I just know that I'm awesome, and I assume everyone will think that I'm awesome as well. And that's just my assumption. And if they're grumpy or frowny or not giving me that, I figure that something must be going on in their life because I'm awesome, and they should be acknowledging that. It's worked for me, and I think it's similar to Lucky Girl Syndrome. You can look it up on TikTok. Lots of girls are talking about this. Shockingly, the luckiest girls all seem to be really attractive. I don't know what that's about. That's probably just a coincidence, I'm sure. But now I want to talk about the WWE. There's big news that they may have been sold to Saudi Arabia. Now, WWE's stock fell after reports that Saudi Arabia's public investment fund was buying the company. But a source familiar with the matter said that no such deal has been made, and that's as of an hour ago. The sale process, which began last week, remains ongoing, said the source, who denies the news. The rumors caused the stock to jump 7%, but later sank, following WWE's confirmation that the reports were false. Stock is still up 25% so far this year. Additionally, Stephanie McMahon, co-CEO of WWE, and Vince McMahon's daughter resigned from her role, and now Nick Khan is the sole CEO of the company. But, if you're selling your company to Saudi Arabia, probably can't have a woman as a CEO, can you? I mean, but that could also just be a coincidence, I'm sure. There's a lot of news about this, and it's funny, I've thought about wrestling and culture and its effect on society. And I know not everybody follows pro wrestling. I like it, but I know not everybody likes it. But for the past number of years, WWE has been putting on big pay-per-view events in Saudi Arabia twice a year or so. And when they started off, there were no women wrestling at all. And then the first time they had a woman's match, she had a whole bodysuit and a big baggy T-shirt, like just huge T-shirt, like 18 sizes too big that they were wearing when they wrestled. And each year, it's become more and more westernized. And you can see in the audience, there are more and more families and women in the audience and things like that. And I think if you really want to affect a culture and have some influence on it, that's one of the ways that you do it, is you do it through entertainment. And I think that probably WWE has done more to change the culture of Saudi Arabia than pretty much anything the U.S. State Department has done. But that's just my take on it. We'll find out if this deal goes through and what the consequences of it will be. But reportedly it's a several billion-dollar deal. So we'll just have to see what happens with that. Okay. And next, is a new study from the Ohio State University, and they found that performing good deeds leads to notable mental health improvements for people suffering from depression and anxiety. According to the study, this is because acts of kindness toward others are the only studied mental health intervention that results in subjects feeling more connected with other people. Additionally, when people help others, it helps take their minds off of negative thoughts that they might otherwise consume their attention, which is beneficial for fighting depression and anxiety. Now, I know this time of year is really tough for a lot of people, especially with the weather being so dark in the Northern Hemisphere, seasonal effectiveness disorder. You know, you're not getting the sunlight that you're used to most of the year. A lot of people feel down. And this study has said that helping others is going to help you, is going to help with your anxiety and your depression. And that's good. That's not the only thing, though. I would encourage that, though, because being social does have an effect on your soul, does have an effect on your day. I try to get out and mix with people every single day because I know how important it is to be social. You know, if we work from home and we don't need to go to the grocery store or whatever, we can go a long time without seeing other human beings. So it's always important to get out and at least mix it up a little bit out in public. And now the research is backing that up as well. You don't have to necessarily go work at a soup kitchen to get those effects. But being nice to other people is going to have an effect. And if you think about social media and all the not nice things that are happening, I know that when I get nice comments, it means a lot to me. And if it means a lot to me, I'm sure it would mean a lot to other people if you can follow through and be nice like that. But lastly, I want to tell you about one more thing that yeah. But I do want to encourage everyone to hit the like button. This video doesn't cost me anything, and I don't make anything on it. There shouldn't be any advertisements because I don't get paid. But hit the like button. It does mean something to me, and it means something to the algorithm. Leave me a comment about what you thought of today's show. And if you think this might be interesting to anyone you know, give it a share. I would appreciate that. I will check out your comments. Wow, lots of comments. I will read those after, after I close. But I hope you all have an awesome day. I'll see you tomorrow at noon. Peace.